Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to NPR, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's leadership is facing significant challenges following his center-left party's decisive defeat in recent municipal elections. The election saw a notable victory for the far right, plunging Starmer's ruling party into turmoil. Debates are now underway regarding the Prime Minister's unpopularity and whether to replace him. The party is also grappling with the crucial question of who might succeed him amidst this political uncertainty. Al Jazeera reports that Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel has indicated an openness to receiving humanitarian aid from the United States, provided it adheres to internationally recognized practices. However, he strongly suggested that a more impactful way for the U.S. to alleviate the suffering of the Cuban people would be to lift its long-standing trade embargo on the island. These remarks, shared on social media, followed a U.S. offer of $100 million in aid, which came with a condition for Cuba to institute meaningful reforms. Diaz-Canel criticized this condition, labeling the U.S.'s actions, including a de facto fuel blockade, as systematic and ruthless punishment that has deliberately induced the humanitarian crisis. Cuba is currently grappling with severe fuel shortages, widespread blackouts, and scarcity of basic supplies like food and medicine. A U.S. delegation, including CIA Director John Ratcliffe, met with Cuban officials in Havana to discuss security cooperation, amidst reports that the Trump administration is pushing for regime change. Al Jazeera reports that closing arguments have commenced in Elon Musk's pivotal lawsuit against OpenAI. This trial could significantly impact the future of the ChatGPT creator. Musk, the world's wealthiest individual and founder of rival AI Grok, alleges that OpenAI, its CEO Sam Altman, and President Greg Brockman deviated from their founding nonprofit mission. He claims they breached charitable trust by enriching investors and insiders, prioritizing profit over AI safety and humanity's benefit. Musk's lawyer accused Altman of untrustworthiness, citing 5 witnesses who testified he was a liar. The lawsuit also implicates Microsoft for aiding OpenAI's alleged wrongful conduct. OpenAI's defense, however, argues that Musk filed his lawsuit too late and that he himself sought to convert OpenAI into a for-profit entity under his control, a move resisted by other founders. A key aspect for the jury to consider is whether the lawsuit was filed within the statute of limitations. The trial unfolds as OpenAI plans a significant initial public offering. NHK has learned that Japan's defense ministry is actively studying the potential export of surface-to-ship missiles to the Philippines. Manila reportedly conveyed its interest in acquiring Type 88 missiles earlier this month. The ministry is considering transferring these missiles from the Ground Self-Defense Force's current arsenal, as the GSDF plans to gradually replace them with a newer model. Type 88 missiles boast a range exceeding 100 kilometers and were recently used in a live-fire drill in the Philippines involving both SDF personnel and U.S. forces. In addition to missiles, the transfer of Japan's Abukuma-class destroyer escorts, currently operated by the Maritime Self-Defense Force, is also under consideration. This potential move comes after the Japanese government revised its 3 principles on the overseas transfer of defense equipment last month, effectively allowing the export of lethal weapons in principle by abolishing previous restrictions. The Al Jazeera news agency reports that the administration of United States President Donald Trump has committed an additional $1.8 billion in humanitarian funding to the United Nations. This new pledge comes after a $2 billion anchor commitment made in December. However, the total amount remains significantly less than previous U.S. humanitarian aid, which reached $17 billion in fiscal year 2022. The Trump administration frames these funding decisions as efforts to bring transparency and reform to the UN, citing concerns about ideological creep and bureaucratic inefficiencies. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Mike Waltz denied claims that the U.S. has walked away from its commitments, asserting that the new approach ensures more funds reach those in need. Critics, including Human Rights Watch, argue that the reduction in foreign aid could negatively impact human rights, global safety, and public health, weakening international accountability for abusers. Furthermore, the United States is currently behind on its UN member dues, owing nearly $4 billion, with only $190 range shu, $1 billion, we tom watrip communitian dollars. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.